Good morning, Grant from Pebble-Mix. Today we're going to be doing a DIY installation, and we're actually going to be going through each of the steps of what you need to do if you're going to be doing Pebble-Mix yourself. So let's get started. So first thing we go through is the resin. So it's a two-part A and B. So you've got your binders and your hardener. So with this, on each bottle you've got markings on it, which you can see from the 20 kilo, 40 kilo, 60 kilo and 80 kilos, and that's if you're doing single batches. So doing 20 kilos of Pebbles at a time, you just empty the bottle down to this line, and then the same thing with your part B, you just empty the bottle down to this line. If you're going to be doing sealing, you will work it down to your half point, and you'll be adding in white spirits, about 350 mils to a and B mixed together, and they'll get you roughly about 10 to 12 square meters of a sealing. So we're going to go and empty these out into the bucket, and then we're going to add our Pebbles. So what we've got here is just a Bunnings bucket. We've made some notches into the sides here. We just put a bit of timber through the bottles. We just turn them over in and just literally let them empty out. Makes life a lot easier instead of having to hold the bottles and get them fully emptying out. It's a good angle, and we can go and get our bags prepped and get everything else ready for our mix. Alright, so our resin's now emptied into our bucket. We're going to give it a quick mix with a little mixing drill for about 30 seconds. The consistency should be a kind of like a creamy yellowish kind of tone. Then we're going to add it into our mix. We're going to put in just 2 bags today because we're just doing a small mix. Normally we'd be doing full batches of 5 bags, and so you put them into a full size mixer. If you're going to be doing something smaller, you're just using generally like a 20-litre drum. You'd empty your Pebbles into the drum and then pour in your specifically 20 kilos worth of resin, A and B. You give that a mix, pour that into the drum, give it a mix for about a minute or so, then tip it into a secondary drum, give it another mix, and then pour it out. That way you're going to get consistent mixing and work all the time. Set a timer and use a timer to keep everything consistent, and that way we're going to not have color variations. So we're going to empty this out, give this a quick mix, and throw it into the bag. So we'll do this live. So we can see into here that that's just some nice creamy consistency. So we've got that mix, and we're going to turn on a mixer and empty these bags into it. Now before we add it into a mixer, we make sure that everything's nice and safe, everything's closed up and all that, and make sure we've got our timer ready to go. And then we'll set our timer for 3 minutes again, and then we'll throw it into our mix. Make sure we empty everything out of the bucket, that way we get all the resin and let it mix through. So here we've got our timer, and so we're just going to set it for 3 minutes, and then we're going to put it on and add our resin. Make sure you've got all your tools and all that ready to go, and once you start, get it all mixing. Alright, so that's pretty much the full 3 minutes finished. We've just emptied this out into the drum, and so normally would be going and putting it down and starting to layer over driveways, pathways. So preparation wise, we need to be using a fibro mesh over the entire area. This pretty much doubles the strength of the product and gives it a bit more flexibility. The product does have a bit of thermal expansion contraction, but this pretty much adds a hell of a lot more into it. We will double mesh over all cracks and then do a full single layer over the entire area. It's nice and strong and gives it a nice strong base to work with. So what we're going to do now is just do some trays and some samples, as we're just starting to do some pavers, and so we're going to do some troweling after this. Alright, so now we're going to go and just do some of these pavers. The process is pretty much the same as what we do with our normal troweling. So we're using a double-handed trowel here, generally good for putting the weight through. And we normally work about 500 mil in front of us, because you don't want to be overreaching and overstanding while you're doing your troweling. And then use small trowels just get into tight little corners and that. So we're just going to give that a quick little bit of a spray. So we use generally just a Nylex bottle, which is from Bunnings. These are chemical resistant ones. Don't get the blue top ones because they're not, and you'll find the O-rings will melt really quickly. We use methylated spirits, and so we're going to go and pour out a bit of our mix. Quick bit of a spread. Getting into our corners. So give it a quick spray. And just as we're going through, not mass amounts of weight, but we don't use our arms, we use our body. And we go back and forth. If you're using your arms, you'll be cooked by the end of the day. So we're going back, forward. You don't want it too much of an angle because you'll start digging through. You'll start getting deep ones. You want to have a nice little bit of an angle so we just start to drag it and compact it in nice and tight. And now we're starting to drag, and you can start seeing these bits of lines coming in through here, and that's where we're starting to get a bit of excess glue. So this is where we need to just give it a quick little spray, and then just quick pass over. If you do cut an edge, throw it back in, throw it through. As you do more and more of it, you'll find it gets better and easier to do. You'll find the consistency comes nice, and so you literally just punch it out and you continue through. Generally, if you're going to not be able to finish the entire job of the day, put down an aluminium strip to work to give you a clean edge, so that way the next day you've got a nice square edge to work to and start again with. I hope this helps, and this has been good instructional. Enjoy the day, get your mix on. The last thing that we do once the area is completely troweled out, and while we've still got access, is that we'll go and hand cast glass over the area. So it's an ultra fine glass, pretty much like sand. And so this will give it the P5 slip rating. So we literally just hand cast it over. And that alone is enough. So you can see the glass. And that's enough to go and create the P5 slip rating and keep everything nice and good and safe. Enjoy the day. Get your mix on.